Welcome back, Attack! I'm excited to bring you my first impression of a cool card game RTS called Prismata. But beforehand, I want to say that this is not going to explain the whole game in depth. I'll just give you a little bit of an overhead, but really what you should do is go check out their official What is Prismata video. It really explains the game and elucidates all the mechanics very, very well. And I think if you're interested in getting into the game, that's definitely the first video that you need to watch, except for this one maybe. I'm going to give you my opinion, and hopefully from this video you can decide if you want to jump into the game or not. Keep in mind, guys, that this is very early in development. A lot can change. You know the drill, right? Okay, so graphics are probably going to get tuned up a little bit. It's probably going to run a little bit better. And, well, we're probably just going to get more content, period. But I'll go ahead and say that I do enjoy the game, honestly, guys. I really like the game. I think it's really interesting that they combined a card game plus RTS and then just made it what it is. I'm actually very interested that card games haven't done this sooner. I can't believe this game wasn't made sooner because it's actually, I don't know, pretty obvious that this sort of combination works very well. People like card games, people like RTSs, and they like them for very similar reasons, for the strategy components, so let's just kind of make it one game. Prismata definitely does feel like that. It feels like an RTS, but at the same time it has the sort of fast-paced action, I guess you could say, that you would get from a card game. Now, of course, it definitely has some competition, I guess you could say, with Hearthstone and a couple other digital card games. Well, what those games have over this game is graphics, really. It's either the artwork is amazing, like Magic, or it's the effects and the overall fluidity of the game, like Hearthstone. Hearthstone definitely has a big pop to it, and it's just really easy on the eyes. This game's a little bit harsher, and I think the art is definitely way simpler, but still, it's a very fast-paced game, and you can do some really sick combos, and overall, if the art gets tuned up a little bit, I would actually be really impressed, and I think the game could really take off then. But especially for RTSs or even card games, you know, graphics only go so far. Really, a lot of it comes down to how does it play mechanically. Well, one factor that I really like about this game, for just any card game, is that we manage our resources to such a degree. You have potential growth, like you can actually create your own growth for your resources by your units. You have drones, you have engineers, and these guys actually produce resources. You also have new cards like the Animus, or you can create steel. You actually create resources for yourself instead of just drawing them or gaining it every turn like Hearthstone. No, you yourself are managing your resources like an RTS. But like any other card game, you do have a limit on the number of cards that you use, so you can't just constantly upgrade. If you recklessly just spawn any one type of card, you're going to run out of those cards, and you potentially could lose because of that. You have to be very smart on all fronts of this game. There is no lucky draws, it's all skill here. So if you have a disdain for Hearthstone or maybe Pokemon because of the coin flip mechanics, very prevalent in those games, then you're probably going to enjoy this one. However, because there is such a management of resources and you have essentially your whole deck at your disposal at any time, it makes getting into the game very difficult. There's no starter deck of any sorts, there's no lucky drawing, like I said, there's no hand holding. Just like any other RTS, you have this huge army at your disposal, and you're gonna have to learn each unit by each unit and know the flow of the game, from the entry level minutes all the way to the end game. How to produce your units, which resources you want to actually focus on, and of course there is going to be a slight rock, paper, scissors element to that whenever you're fighting opponents. Should you produce more blood? Should you produce more steel? How about the crystals? Like, there's a lot to focus on, and especially if you want to keep producing low-level units or maybe large units, all this needs to factor in, just like an RTS. It is an RTS, except it's turn-based, and there's no map present. And with that in mind, they set up aggression mechanics so that you can't just go straight for the enemy's drones, you can't go straight for the heart of the enemy's strategy without going past their defenses, because kind of similar to a couple of other card games, whenever you attack, the enemy chooses what you attack, as long as they have defenses. If they don't have defenses, if they just have their drones and their backline available to be attacked, then you can choose what to attack. But if they do have defenses, if they have shield walls and husks, then yeah, he will choose where your aggression, where those damage points actually end up to. So if you want to be defensive and turtle for the end game, amass a huge army, then you're going to want to build a lot of walls, or if you want to go full-on aggression really early to bring down his resources so that maybe you could potentially outgain them, then you're going to produce some small units that do a lot of damage really quick. And legitimately, the bots are actually really challenging. Even just playing offline with the challenge modes and puzzle modes, it's pretty interesting. Of course, the PvP is where it's at, and I'm just glad that the game does have tutorials, because seriously, jumping into a game, fighting another opponent is absolutely the worst way to get into this game, because you are going to lose every time. Honestly, whenever I first started playing, I was losing to the tutorials. It was pretty ridiculous. The game has so much depth, especially when you get into having the full deck or the full army at your disposal. So I absolutely enjoy that I don't just control one resource, I control multiple resources, and with those multiple resources, I can create a multitude of different units. There's just a huge amount of depth and strategy that goes into every single match that you're going to play, and it's probably going to play differently every single time. Really, the only thing that I don't like about the game, it would be the graphics. I think we're definitely going to need a little bit more splash. We're going to need a little bit more spectacle, and I think the art definitely needs to be tuned up. And I'm fine with its cartoon nature. Even Hearthstone doesn't have amazing art. My bias is I really love card games, and generally I don't play RTSs. So even though this heavily favors the RTS side of its card game RTS mechanics, I still very much enjoyed it, and I think it's a great card game. Will it be competitive, Sky? Yeah, it's probably going to be competitive. There's already a couple of competitive matches that have occurred, and I think a lot of people are interested in the prospect of a competitive nature of this game. I mean, we see how Hearthstone's blowing up, and so I'm pretty sure Scrolls is going to want to be there, and of course, everyone loves Magic Online, and there's a couple of other digital card games that are looking to get into that space, but I think this game is just different enough from other card games, because really it's an RTS in a card game format. I think it probably can find its own little niche in esports. So if you're interested in that aspect, I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up. And overall, you know, even if you're a casual player, I definitely think it's worth the experience. It's not an easy game, and it's kind of hard to get into, but if you got the time, it's definitely worth the sink. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Skylit Shore with Attack Gaming, and I did have fun with this game, and hopefully you do too. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing our first impressions, top 10s, and other gaming goodness, and always, we do have the website up, MMOATK.com, if you want to go and visit that too. Thank you very much for stopping by. We'll see you again later.
Put something in your mouth again.
Can I put it in my hand first?
No, you know how this works.
Oh my
I
God.
shove it in your mouth.
Please choose your words wisely.
Okay, lean back.
Oh, what?
Well,